Hey guys, what is going on? Angelisa here, and I'm coming at you from Squamish, BC. What is up? How is everyone doing tonight? I hope you guys are having a beautiful night wherever you guys are. I'm really excited. We are going to be chatting with Nadia Samar. I want to say Nadia or Nadia. Pretty sure it's Nadia. Nadia Samar. Super stoked. She's somebody that I've been following for a very long time. She definitely sends it. She kills it. If you guys aren't following her, make sure you do. I will be tagging her Instagram handle on this post when we are done our interview. What is happening, you guys? We're really excited to have you here. So just wanted to do a quick shout out. Today's shout out is going to Mountain Labs and Camps. Make sure you guys follow them as well. They provide lots of clinics for everyone. So yeah, we're just waiting for Nadia to hop on. But if anyone wants to share a win, would love to hear some wins. Any wins? All right, I'll share a win. I'm moving to Whistler. Yay! Me and the fam jam. So we're pretty excited. We got some moving boxes there. What's up, Brittany? And yeah, we're looking forward to it. All right, here's Nadia. I am going to bring her up. And we'll start chatting. Hi.
Hey,
How's it going, Nadia?
it's good. Just trying to figure this out. This
Yeah.
is my first time doing anything like this, so
Yeah, no, it's all good.
thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. Where are you coming from?
I'm actually coming to you from Hattiesburg in Mississippi, way down south.
Crazy. Is
Yeah.
that where you're training, like you're doing your studies?
Yeah, I'm actually attending medical school down here. So it's quite the change. I drove down here with my truck, my dirt bike, and my dog. So it's a little different. It's like night and day from back home in Whistler, but
Absolutely. Crazy. Well, actually, yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about is a little bit about your studies and dirt biking now and definitely some sledding. Um, so when did you head down there?
I left. Sorry, it's been a bit of a blur. I
That's
believe I left July 28th. It took me 3 days, 2.5 days to drive 4,600 kilometers from Vancouver all the way down here. So,
Oh my gosh, crazy. How was the border when you were crossing?
I'm here on an F1 student visa. So
Oh,
thankfully, I hadn't paid my service fee, like
okay.
the Navisport service fee, but I was held up for about an hour, and thankfully the border guard wanted to talk dirt bikes because he saw my KTM in the back, and we talked about bikes for a little bit. I paid my service fee for the F1 visa and got through. They didn't check or anything, but yeah.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
Easy breezy. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about dirt biking. So that's something you just dove into this summer?
Yeah, it's been one of those things where I wanted to get into for a few years now. I had ridden a bike 3 times before this. Friend Adam Topshi out in Pemby let me ride his wife's bike on his track one time, and then my friend Matt in Pemby let me ride his CRF 450R, which was a lot of bike,
Love
and
that.
I rode my friend's brother's bike once before, so
Okay,
figure there's no time like a pandemic to get into dirt biking, right? So
totally. And what are you riding right now?
I'm on a KTM four-stroke 250 XCF.
Cool.
I wanted to do a mix of track and trails, so I figured might as well get something that's gonna deal with me learning on the trails, idling out, and stalling out on routes, and then also be able to ride tracks. So
Yeah, yeah, totally. Sounds like a good bike.
yeah, I've been loving it so far. I'm not so sure my clutch or my bike loves me back, but um, my friend actually got a Kawasaki KLX 230, and I could tell right away, like I broke both of the bikes in. I definitely like the way the KTM handles. It's a little bit more of a Ferrari in terms of the chassis, how it responds. Going downhill, it feels like a downhill bike. I really am loving like the technical downhills on the moto. It reminds me a lot of being on my Santa Cruz V10. So
Totally. I keep hearing that with the crossover from mountain biking to dirt biking, especially doing the trails, it's quite similar, a similar feeling anyways. Yeah.
yeah, if only it was as easy going uphill as it was on sleds, right?
For sure. Cool.
Down the hill to deal with that, but
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's talk. So you usually are in Whistler, correct?
that's correct. I have been in Whistler the past decade or so, 10, 15 years, Whistler Pemby. I ski raced there, and then I did ski cross, did my last year of high school there, and I've been calling that home the last decade or so.
Cool. And so with your studies, can you tell us what exactly you're studying?
I'm doing medical school down here, actually. So I have 2 preclinical years. So I did my undergrad at SFU in molecular biology and biochem, and I'm 2 preclinical years of medical school. And then I get placed into rotations where I do a little bit of general surgery, family practice, obstetrics, gynecology, emergency room work, and then you do a year of specialized, and then you do a residency for either, different specialties, and then you go out and practice after that. So,
Right. So how many years do you have left, do you think?
I just started.
Oh, you just started. Okay.
I had done my undergrad, and 4 or 5 years of undergrad with honors, and I just started medical school.
Oh, crazy. Okay, because I was gonna say I've been following you for a while. I'm a creeper. Yeah, I've noticed that you've been studying. Like that's something that you've been actively doing for a while now. So
Yeah, and it took a little longer. I did have a pretty bad brain injury. I know some of the content with Gibbons had discussed dealing with a few of the minor concussions I had sustained from ski racing and downhill biking, and then I was hit by a car. So it's been a little bit of you can't rush healing from concussions. You just have to be patient and wait for them to take as long as they take to heal. And that had to do with not only like cerebral functioning, but also balance for riding. It took me a long time till I felt comfortable on my downhill bike, on the sled, dealing with vertigo, dealing with balance, to the point where I felt like I was able to get back to where I was.
wow.
So, yeah, that delayed things a little bit, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. At the end of the day, you're still going to be, a doctor, even if it takes you an extra few years. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great that you're pushing through it and that you're taking those steps for sure.
yeah, I know brain injuries are a tricky thing. I know quite a few people in skiing, sledding, downhill biking, moto is something most people have dealt with or know someone who's dealt with. So it's something you definitely want to take every precaution, but sometimes they can't be prevented. All you can do is be patient, be kind, and make sure you do everything to prevent them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy. So is that something that you might be working towards, like with your studies, maybe like with concussions and brain injuries or?
It's tough to say. I know I'm really drawn to emergency medicine just because of everything that I've done over the years and exposure to the emergency medical system. I think brain injuries are something that we're learning more as time goes on. And I think the U.S. veterans hospitals are a huge source because they deal with all the, or the IED explosive, where you don't actually have physical contact, but you have concussive force. So a lot of research is coming out of there that's proving to be really beneficial for dealing with brain injuries.
Okay. Crazy. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing. That's something I didn't know and I wasn't aware, and I'm sure not a lot of people knew either.
Yeah.
But let's go. So we talked a little bit about your studies. Let's talk about snowmobiling. Can you give us a little bit of a backstory on how you became a professional in snowmobiling?
Okay. While I was racing ski cross, a few of my roommates were also doing big mountain competitions, and they convinced me to tag along with them. So I started tagging along to some of the Canadian stops and then the US free ski tour stops. And I did quite well, had a few podium finishes, and wanted to get more into backcountry filming. And at the time, snowmobiling was more of the access for filming. If you wanted a heli budget, you really had to be, in a Red Bull or Monster Energy sponsored athlete. So I initially got a sled, saved up for 2 years of working construction to get it, and figured out pretty quickly that no one wanted to take a girl out sledding back when I was 19. So it was a lot of digging myself out of creeks, ditches, a lot of breaking every single chassis part possible. And yeah, I mean, I had the thing in the air the first year riding and never really looked back. Turns out they're just as much fun going downhill as they are, using for ski access.
Right. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that's something I want to talk to you a little bit about. I know you said skiing. You do a lot of that as well, but I just want to make sure I'm on track here before I jump ahead. um, you've been sending it on your snowmobile. Like you've been hitting jumps, you've been hitting drops. I've actually been seeing that more so than skiing on your page. Maybe I'm just more drawn to the sledding part. But can you tell me like how that is for you? Like doing that
I
stuff?
think it's just because it's easier to jump the sled because you don't really need the most ideal conditions to jump the snowmobile because you have suspension, because of the weight involved, because of chassis. Like you can jump to hard pack on a sled, and on skis to really send it, you need ideal conditions. Your body has to be good. You have to be first up on top of the line. You need someone to double you. You need to get there before everyone else. And then typically if you're shooting with a ski photographer or filming, you can't put it on social media. They want it to be published in magazines, or you're saving up for a movie part. Oftentimes with ski footage, the project will come out a year and a half later, 2 years later, before you see anything, and oftentimes, it's copyrighted because the money involved, and you don't actually own the rights to put any of the content out online. So it's a little bit trickier like that. At least with snowmobiling, oftentimes it's my own camera or a friend's camera, and I own the rights to the media, so I can just pop it online. And when I do hit features on the snowmobile, I'm hitting it quite a few times, so get quite a few shots. It's just easier to get content on the sled.
Wow, crazy. I guess I'd never looked at it that way. And I've never actually heard somebody say that with the skiing side of things, it could take up to 2 years to produce a video or film, that sort of thing. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
sometimes it's big project. There's money from your ski company and the brands involved, and then the actual footage isn't released until the movie premiere, and then they do all the show stops, and then after that's run its course, you can then put material online, but they want people to actually go to see the movie premieres, or they want to publish the photos in magazines, and magazines don't want to run images that have already appeared online. So
Makes sense for sure. Crazy. Well, you send it. You send it huge when you're snowmobiling. Like some of the cliff drops that you hit. Oh my gosh. Like it's insane. Can you tell us a little bit about your crew that you sled with? Are they people that influenced you to start jumping and start dropping?
yeah, so initially one of the few people I started riding with after trial and error, friend Jameson, who went to UW and rode, he was out sledding a bunch with me when he was living with me and put up with my silly learning antics. And then a lot of the dropping, I won't lie, and jumping was just sort of self-taught. I looked at things I wanted to ski, and then after skiing lines, I would go up with my sled and then take my snowmobile down the hill. And then I ran into Steph Sweezy actually on a day we were up sled access on Miller, and she was coming downhill, I was going uphill. She almost hit me. So that was, I think, the first time Steph and I met. But I think 2 years into riding, I got in with like Grant, Brad, a lot of the Pemby Whistler guys, Steph, and was out riding with them. Met Yearly, then was in filming with Forecast. I think 2 or 3, maybe both. Yeah, so,
Cool.
and then you just go out and you end up riding with them for fun, and you end up hitting the same things or showing them new things. They show you new features, and you push each other, and that's sort of how that went.
Yeah, sounds like a good crew. The
Yeah.
best crew to have. So can you tell us a little bit about a workout routine that you have for all your activities, from skiing to sledding and now dirt biking?
Yeah, injury prevention is absolutely huge. Anyone that knows me knows I blew both my ACLs when I was ski racing. And when I was learning to jump, I actually overshot and compression fractured my vertebrae. And for most people that are going fairly large, I think that spine injuries or back injuries are, pretty par for course. When you get to a certain threshold, the vector forces involved are just quite large. So yeah, absolutely. Core stability. From racing alpine, I found that CrossFit type workouts were the most similar to what I used to do for ski racing, which kept me in shape. So I don't do CrossFit anymore. I modify the workouts and have my own Olympic bar and plates, and I do similar sort of full body Olympic workouts at home.
Cool.
I do a lot of core, a lot of back. Also was playing hockey like 5 times a week. I think if you want to be able to push yourself and want to be able to crash, because crashing is part of pushing that comfort zone, you need to be able to take the impact. So there's nothing wrong with being strong, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Cool. Thanks for that. Let's just see here. So who inspires you to snowmobile?
So I think my days of strictly going out to sled for competitive sake of it's much more of like a social happy thing for me these days. Like I like going out with friends where we can go hit things, or even if it's girls that are getting into the sport and I get to like throw them off smaller things, and I can see that spark when I was first learning how to jump and hit things, and you see that feeling. You get to witness people have that same sort of aha moment or confidence moment. That's what really inspires me to get out there.
Cool.
I've got a few people, my buddy Matt Moore, Fever, like all staff, like these are all people, no matter what. I don't think I've ever had a bad day out riding with them. So
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
Even the bad days where you get stuck and it's raining, I mean, you end up just building bonfires out in the backcountry. It's still a day out on the sled, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the days in the backcountry is the best days. Okay, so we talked about your crew. What are you talked a little bit about when you started getting into sledding. Can you tell us a little bit more about some struggles that you've had when it came to sledding?
yeah, I think the first year or two there, it was really difficult just finding people to go with. At the time, I bought Jeff Kyle's secondhand '07, which '07 were notorious lemons. I think I blew the engine 4 times. And then the chassis was beat to hell, and no one wanted to ride with girls. So it was, I know better now, having done my Ops 1 as an Abby instructor, but at the time I spent a lot of hours solo flailing in ditches teaching myself that first year.
Okay.
And when I went to events in the States, like for the Big Mountain Free Ski comps, I would, put it on the TGR message boards, coming down with the sled for the free ski comps, if anyone wants to get out riding. And I guess I had a rather androgynous username because I'd show up and everyone was just shocked it was a girl. I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, well, here I am. So they were just stuck for the day and learned a lot in some pretty high consequence areas in Colorado at around like 14,000 feet. I mean, the jetting's all different on carbureted slides too. So I guess you only learn when you're outside of your comfort zone though. So
Totally.
yeah.
So because of your skiing tour, were you able to snowmobile and I guess and ski? Like were you able to snowmobile pretty much anywhere you went?
Yeah, most of the places that the tour stops were like Squaw in California or Gunnison, Colorado, like Crested Butte. All those places had pretty decent sled areas. I think when I was racing ski cross, was teammates with Ashley McIver at the time, and her friend Chris Brown was down in Colorado, and that's actually how I met Chris, was down at Rabbit Ears. Ran into Brent down there, like in the middle of the trees, and yeah, it was, you find 2-3 days off between stops,
Okay.
I would drive down, I'd be on the road for 4 to 6 weeks at a time, and could always find time to ride.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. You're so lucky to be able to check out so many different areas.
I will say after having sledded all over the continental, Western North America, that there's no place like Whistler. There really isn't.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, we're pretty good back home.
Yes, for sure. On a side note, I'm moving to Whistler.
Wow, well,
I'm
that's
so excited.
probably the best decision you could make, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Okay, let's get back to it. So you talked about your struggles. What are some wins that you've had in your sledding career?
I think learning how to wrench and fix and troubleshoot and just having the confidence. I think when you do get into trouble, when you get super stuck, when you're alone, when you hit trees, just knowing, not freaking out, knowing that it might take a little bit of time. I might get really frustrated, sweaty, wet. My day might be shot. I might be exhausted and sore afterwards, but no matter what, I will get out of there. And it takes you a while going through that to develop that confidence and skill set. But that's probably one of the most empowering things that you can develop as a rider, to know that no matter what sort of situation you get in within reason, that you can probably get yourself out solo. And also fixing things and troubleshooting. So when something goes on your sled or it's starting to go, that you have that perception to pick up on it before it becomes a really big issue, or to fix it on the fly, or to deal with it in your garage.
Yeah.
Because shop labor is expensive. I couldn't afford it. And to be fair, unless it's engine or warranty work, you can fix a lot of the chassis work on your own. It just takes, spending a lot of time looking things up online or asking friends, and saves you a lot of money.
You bet. I was gonna say it's YouTubeology, right? Like that's what I do when I'm working on my sled. Cool. So do you have any goals for this up and coming winter?
I guess that would depend on the US border situation.
Right.
I can't even begin to tell you how jealous I am, because if the border does stay closed, it's going to be absolutely unreal riding. It's going to be empty except for locals.
Yes.
As it stands, I only have about 2.5 weeks off from medical school. So if the quarantine is still 2 weeks, I'm not sure I'll be able to come home, because I'll be stuck at house arrest. But they are discussing the potential of doing testing as you come home. And if that's the case, I think I just want to get home and log as many air miles as possible.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, that was actually something I was going to ask you about, if you were able to come home, if you're going to be studying all that time.
It's a very situation. It's changing every week, so we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully you do get to come back. Okay. And then if you could go back in time, what would you tell young Nadia?
Oh. Well, it's tough. I mean, some of the lessons you learn that are the harder ones are kind of blessings in disguise. I mean, breaking my T12 vertebrae was unfortunate. Some of the brain injuries were unfortunate, but I think those served as sort of get out of jail free cards. Like, I always wear a mouth guard now, and I do walk away when my body isn't feeling good, or when I think conditions aren't right, the landing doesn't quite look right. I know now that it's not worth it. It's better to come back another day, to wait. There's always another day to ride. I'm a lot more picky about my landings and transitions and what I hit and what I won't hit. It's not always worth it. So for some of the smaller super sniper landings, I mean, you're going to feel that in your body for the rest of your life. So spend more time working out and knowing when to walk away. Like, there's a good time when there's fear keeping you back, and then there's times where it's like, this is a conditions thing, or when to call it when your body is past the point where you can safely hit things. I think that's just experience, though. You can't just tell someone that. They have to find that out on their own.
Yeah, sure. For sure. Yeah, when your body starts to get tired, it's almost like that turning point. It's like either you have enough energy to ride out, like you never know, or you just don't know when that burnout, when it's going to happen, because it can happen so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or when you're just at a jump and you're landing in bomb holes because you found a really sweet hit for doing whips. I mean, I was notorious for just hitting it till it was so bombed out, and I look back, I'm like, yeah, you learned, but was it worth it? Like, it hurt the next few days. So
totally. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so, and then next, Where can people catch you this season? I know you're going to be studying, but do you have an Instagram page, website, or?
Yeah, I've been bad about updating social media just because I've been so busy with school. I do mean to get back. And Helen did grab some really cute photos. I mean, I say cute, but she got some good photos at the track the one night out I got out with the girls in Pemby.
Nice.
And I can't say enough good things about the women's riding scene. If you're looking to get into riding track or trail, this is an unreal time as a girl to get on a bike. There's such a rad, supportive crew of girls ranging from complete beginners to pro racers. Everyone's so supportive, and it's just a really cool crew of ladies out there right now in the sea to sky. I can't say enough good things.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I feel like now is a time, like we need this time together. We need this time to like get out and ride, and it's just so important right now. Self-care.
Yeah. And the women, they're so good, they're so humble, and they're so willing to teach and impart knowledge. And, it's a different dynamic than riding with guys because, I've got two brothers. They'll just ride you down, run you off the trail. But that's how I learned was like, they do that to you, you do that to them next lap. But I feel like on a moto, it's just higher consequence. Like snow is forgiving and dirt, you may not be walking away or that's the end of the day on the track. So at least for getting those basic skills down, it's what is it? Are they Thursday nights at Green River now
Yes,
for women?
yeah, yes.
Yeah, I can't recommend that enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been awesome for sure. I'm so sad I missed you. It was the one day I didn't go.
Yeah, and then what is it? Bear Mountain in Kelowna or yeah,
Bear
or is it
Creek.
Bear Creek again? Really great area. A lot of diverse trails ranging blue, green, black. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that area. Cool. So any advice you can give to all women out there who are getting into the sport?
Um, tough one. Snowmobiling, or would you?
Yeah, snowmobiling, skiing, like when,
Yeah.
just any advice that you would give to women.
I would say probably check your ego. You're going to be a lifelong learner. I still crash. I still get stuck. I still do dumb things in the parking lot and flip my stuff, loading and unloading. That's part of the sport, and that's never going to end. Learn to laugh at yourself when you mess up, and just stick with it. I mean, everyone has a different learning progression. It takes some people longer to learn than others. Some people pick it up quickly, some people take a little bit more time, and probably learn from friends or learn from other women. I would say that learning from a spouse is generally not advisable in most cases. Yeah, and just try to find a good crew to get out there with and be patient with yourself.
Awesome. That's so great. You nailed it. A quote you live by.
Huh. Can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Little
No worries, no worries. What I can do is open up questions to everyone else. If you guys have a question for Nadia, just drop a comment. And if not, I think there's a few comments up here. I'll just scroll up here. I know somebody said something here. We have Bonnie. She says, I want to move to Whistler. Yeah, you do. And we have Aaron. Definitely been seeing a ton of rad supportive women rocking it in all aspects of action sports. Yeah. Cool. Oh, Bonnie, how should I get sponsored?
If you're looking to get sponsored, I would say it's definitely changed from when I started. When I started, it was more results-based. From competition from skiing, so you would amass a list of results and then you would work on developing a portfolio of published imagery. I would say that today it's probably swayed a little bit more towards social media, which I'm not the most savvy and I think most of my following was from that Red Bull movie in 2014 when ESPN and X Games pushed that. But do the groundwork, look at partnerships, and don't come to them expecting like they owe you. What do you bring to the table, and what are your unique assets, and what can you offer them? It doesn't have to just be the raddest person out there. Are you teaching? Are you an ambassador? Do you have a unique approach? There's a million different ways with social media to bring value to a company. It doesn't necessarily have to be, being the gnarliest person on the mountain. Saw Ira.
Yes, yes. She's saying, who's your favorite rider?
That's a tough call. For sledding, I would have to say, when I first got into sledding, I definitely looked up to Ashley Chaffin a fair amount, and Steph is probably one of my favorite people to ride with. Just a very humble, fun person. She was always a little bit better at jumping than me, and I was a little bit better at like whips, so we would, go out there and push each other, and it was the most supportive, humble yet fun time to go out and ride with her. There's a few other girls in the States, like Carly Davis as well. She came from a snowcross background. It was always a pleasure watching her ride. There's some Swedish girls who absolutely send it that inspire me as well. Sorry, I'm just a little brain dead right now, but yeah.
It's okay. What time is it there for you?
I'm 2 hours ahead of
Okay.
standard time, so.
Oh, sorry, I'm keeping you up here. I have a couple more questions. Jenny, working up some bravery this snowmobile season for more jumps. Any pointers for beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of counterintuitive, like for downhill biking, for most gravity sports. Speed is your friend. Like, you want to find steeper drops than you think you need, because the way a tranny works with takeoff and landing, you're better off finding something steeper to take off and land that's smaller. It'll be smoother. You're not going to have that abrupt like head bounce. I would say something I wish I started doing earlier was wearing a mouth guard at all times. It's not for your teeth, it's for brain injuries, because most brain injuries are your lower jaw snapping up into your maxilla. So wear a mouth guard, because that'll help reduce brain injuries. And scope features, find steeper things than you think you need and take more speed into them. You can always let off, but like take more than you need, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. It'll be a smoother run out, it'll be a smoother air time. When you're going too slow is when mistakes often happen and when it hurts.
Cool. Great advice. Erin, again, I jumped on a bit late. I was happy to hear your advice of learning from a group over learning from a spouse, as my other half is stepping into the sledding lifestyle this year. Thank you for that. Ira says, awesome. And then Maxie, are you enjoying the dirt bike so far? Have you ever thought of riding a bike on street?
I absolutely love my dirt bike. I don't love the fact that there are huge spiders here. They're like, I can't even describe it. I went riding at this military base nearby that was 20 minutes from my house, and every 30 feet along the trails, there's these huge webs, and I kept hitting them, and after about half an hour, I had a huge one on my goggles, and I'm like, I don't mind spiders, but they don't belong on your goggles when you're riding. They don't belong on your bike. Like, I threw my bike down to the ground because there was like 6 of them all over my bike, and they're bright yellow. I was like, I need to find a track down here, because I think trail riding is done. I'm not. No, spiders doing that.
Yeah, that'd be creepy.
That's a hard no. Sorry, I'm just like, with spiders. Street bikes. I worry that if I got on a street bike, just vis-a-vis ski racing, I know I like going fast. I like driving fast. I like sledding and skiing fast. I think it would probably cut my life expectancy down a little bit too much. As much as I think I'd love it, I just don't think I'm the type of person who needs to be on a street bike. So.
Fair enough. Keeks says, miss you.
Miss you too.
And then Jeb says, hello. All right. Well, I think we're gonna cut it down. Cut it down. Is that even a thing? Close it down. I'm also tired tonight, so. Oh, Maxie says, haha, good answer. At least you're honest with yourself.
Yeah. And if anyone ever wants to shoot me a question, whether it's about gear, whether it's about riding or recommendations, I'm always happy to help people because I wish I had more support when I was learning. So I try to be the type of teacher that I wish I had or ally or advocate. So I'm always happy to see other women out riding or anyone that just wants to get into the sport. I know how happy it made me. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nadia. I really appreciate it. You joining us on Throttle Talk Tuesdays. And thank you to everyone who joined in. Thank you for all the questions. Really appreciate it. And again, Nadia, I've been following you for a while now, and I just want to say I love seeing your social media. I love watching you send it. You're sending it like you're going huge, and I always get excited watching it.
I'm happy to see girls out there sending it too, even if it's,
Yeah.
A big send for them. Everyone started off small, myself included.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, awesome. Well, keep killing it. Good luck with your studies. Thank you again, and thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful night, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Okay. Bye, Nadia.